Lewis, I imagine you're getting a little bit sick of talking about this year, but now you've had some time to reflect, how would you sum up 2016?
Um, it's not been it's been an okay year. Of course, there's lots to learn, lots of different things that have been very positive that I can take into next year. It's not been the greatest of years, but it's a year definitely not wasted. The best thing is to make sure you can at least take something, you've learned something, you've grown, and I would say that I've grown a lot this year, so it's been a positive, I would say, all around.
Is that the kind of thing you have to do? You have to sit down and learn, see what you can learn from it, take the positives from it and build on that?
Well, it's just a year in the whole, you know. Whilst we didn't win the World Championship, won lots of races, focus was on point, lots of areas, lots of things that have improved. For example, working with the people that I'm working with in the team, relationship with engineers, they're more encouraged than ever before. So there's lots of different, and in your personal life, the way you've managed your time, all those different things. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely ready for a break, that's for sure.
When we sat down way back at the Spanish Grand Prix, and I remember saying to you, for 43 points, whatever, you can turn that round. And you sort of looked at me like, yeah, really.
Yeah.
But you did turn it round.
Yeah, I did.
You did turn it around, maybe not when it mattered, but you did come back. How much pride can you take from that?
I think all that really, that experience is really about, there's nothing your mind can't, there's nothing you can't do. I think it's all in the head, and for me personally, which looking at it from the outside point of view, it looked like it was an impossible feat, but in retrospect, I was able to do it. So it just shows that nothing's impossible, and you just have to work for it. You just, sometimes it's harder than other times, and this year just proved myself actually, it's just one of those experiences again, since that extends on from when my dad first put me in the boxing ring, and I didn't want to go back in, and I went back in, and and I beat the kid. And it just shows that you can, and I think this year has definitely been a great journey for myself and with my fans as well. The support I've had this year, it's been growing and growing and growing over the years, but the real true strength and true grit I see in my fans at the races and through the messages they send me, that is incredibly powerful beyond your imagination.
When you look back at races such as Monaco and then the whole of July, it was such a strong period for you, and you were ticking off races that you love winning.
Yeah, the middle part of the season was pretty nice, and then I won and went off and had a great holiday, and then came back and started okay, and then it kind of got a bit difficult for a few races, and then pulled it back again at the end. So, it was still a pretty strong year, but ultimately, we all want to have a perfect year, but if we all had a perfect year, then what do you have to look forward to the next time you go out, And the great thing is that I've now got things to work on, I've got things to focus on, hungrier than ever. Some of that's anger, some of that's, the feeling of losing the World Championship, things you may have been able to do better, things we could have done better as a team. Now we've got to work on those. And so now it's a completely new car, there's a new challenge, I've got to be physically fit in a different way. Same strength mentally as I finished the season, and so yeah, I'm going to try and bring all the A's at the A games to next year.
But when you think back to those emotions of another Monaco win, and Silverstone, crowd surfing, all these different things right the way through into July, they're the sorts of moments that make you want to go racing, surely.
Yeah, those are the moments that you live for, and again, the great thing is when you have the lows, it makes you realize the highs and value the highs and appreciate the highs even more than you would do if you're just constantly having the weekends like that. So yeah, Silverstone was spectacular. The support was incredible, and I'll always remember crowd surfing. That was a unique experience for a racing driver, for sure.
How surprised were you by Nico's tenacious spirit, particularly after the summer break? Because when we've seen you on top, you tend to stay on top. Were you surprised that he could come back at you?
Not really, because I mean, Nico's been strong since I've been in the team. And he's got particularly stronger since I've been working with him. I don't particularly honestly. I mean, he did everything he needed to do this year, but I didn't see any particular difference to how he really drove last year, really. Except for when you arrive at the weekend knowing that the guy next to you has less engines or has a slight disadvantage, so he's going to be starting further back this weekend. It's so much easier. If you enter into the weekend or if the last race, for example, knowing that Nico's going to start dead last, it's like, all I got to do is be pretty sure that I'm not going to be pressured in qualifying. It's much easier for me to do my job. But when you know that you're going to have to compete with them wheel to wheel in the qualifying session, the stress is as intense as it possibly can be. Your weekend's a lot different. And there's a lot of weekends. When we came up to Spa, that was Nico had the summer break, knowing that would happen in that race, and because it'd already been planned. And so yeah, I mean, and also he's a strong driver, and there's a couple of things he did this year which to help him be as prepared as he was, which was a compliment to me, to be honest, if anything.
Yeah, I was going to say that, because every time we speak to Nico, right from the beginning of the year, he would always say, "Yep, these other world champions, they've not had Lewis as his teammate." You've almost gone from a friend to like a voodoo in his mind, it seemed. I suppose from a sportsman point of view, that is a compliment to you, is it? That someone has to raise their game so much.
Well, I think that's the same for, if you look at and this is no way in all comparing myself to these other people. I'm just saying, when you look at other sports, when people know they have to go up against Tiger Woods, you're like, you have to lift up your game. When you're going up and playing Serena, they play differently to when they play the other girls. When they know they're going to be playing Serena, they're like, this is it. This is the toughest challenge of my career. And ultimately, I try to prepare myself. My goal is to strengthen myself to the point that I hopefully am as strong as I can be. And I guess generally people that I end up racing with perhaps have to also, in those moments, particularly as a teammate, have to want to be able to raise their game as high as they can, because I perform at a very high level.
How aware of this almost minute-by-minute training and mindset that Nico was in to try and win this World Championship were you during the season? He was doing so much, he said, to try and bolster himself.
Yeah, he was working with a few people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How were you aware of that at the time?
I was, but my whole career I've never had to work with a life coach or a mental coach or anything like that. I find my own way, and I don't always have the way. Sometimes it's the wrong way, but generally, if you look at this year, I've managed to come generally most weekends, and 9 times out of 10 generally deliver good qualifying sessions. Not perfect, and which I've got to work on in the following years. But in that sense, it was a compliment to me, because I take it as a compliment, because I'm like, he's doing everything, he's throwing everything in the toilet seat at it.
Would you do anything different in retrospective that you've done at all this year?
I think not really. I think I never look at the season and think, oh, I wish I did that.
Yeah.
I wish I did that. That's a horrible way to live. What I will do, and what I have done, for example, this past 2 weeks, is I've been here at the factory. I've spoken to my engineers. We've done a season review. We've looked at starts. We've looked at everything, and I've made notes. I'll be like, this area wasn't strong enough. Wasn't 10 out of 10. This area was 10 out of 10. This area was 5 out of whatever it is, and then now I know where I need to divide my time and my focus on next year to improve without letting the others drop. So, as I said, if there's 10 things, you want to be 10 out of 10 in all of them, perfect in all of them. I've not been perfect at every single one. I don't think I ever have been. There's always one that tails off a little bit and can be worked on more, and the more technical Formula One gets, as next year it gets more and more technical. I've just come from a seat fitting just now, and I'm asking all these questions. I'm like, I want to have the best starts next year.
Yeah.
No time or energy should be spared going into that, making sure that's the case. So, what questions do you have for me? How about this? Have you tried this? Can we do this? And really engaging with the people here, because we've got some incredibly smart people here. Well, they're all incredibly smart, and diligent and dedicated to wanting to be the best. And to interact with these really smart people and extract from them something they didn't, because they think they're about calculations and numbers, but practicality is not always generally the strength of whether it be an engineer or whatever. So trying to bring practicality, because that's all I can really bring. I don't have the brains that they have. Bring the practicality of what I feel in the car to them in real time is the strength. And so continuing to build on my relationship with the guys that are here that I'm working with, because I have the best team here.
It's obvious that you're already thinking about 2017, although you're desperate for your break. Mm-hmm. At which point did you think that 2016 wasn't going to be yours? Was it the checkered flag in Abu Dhabi, or did you have a feeling before then?
Probably the last 2 laps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go into the race with a preset plan. People were talking, he's going to back him up. I didn't go into the race with that plan. I wanted to win, obviously. I wanted to get away at the start, get into the lead. Then he fell to 3rd in the race, and I was like, okay, I'm going to continue on with my race. This is going in the direction, hopefully. And then he got back into 2nd, and I was like, I've got enough pace here that I can just pull away into the distance. But what use is that for me, And so I went to Plan B. Which wasn't created. It wasn't a Plan B, but we still got a 1-2. And the last couple of laps I realized that he's going to be finishing 2nd. There's nothing I can really do that's I want to win because I'm the best. Mm-hmm. I never want to win through any other through a failure or through dodgy driving that people shunting people off, which you've seen drivers in the past do. That brings me no satisfaction. The most satisfying thing is when the other person knows that you're better, and that's my goal every single race. And so once I won the race, I won the last 4 races. I think in that period of time, obviously I showed my true pace, and Nico was at his best in those last 4 races for sure, and so that's a great feeling for me still to take into the next season.
How did you find out that Nico Rosberg was retiring?
He messaged me literally like an hour before he announced it, so which I think was nice of him. But then I got the message and I was like, sure. And maybe he's just, because with Nico, he since I've known him, he's always been a bit of a prankster, really. Like, he would tell you, he speaks 5 different languages, so when we're around different people, he would say, he said this, but he didn't actually say that, But he's dead serious, and he won't come back later on and say, I was lying. So very kind of devious in certain things he would say, so I was kind of like, he's not retiring. He's just, I don't know why you'd be texting me that, but then it came out, and I mean, to be honest, I had a thought that he might do before that, so that's when I got the text, I was like, nah. But
why did you have a thought?
Well, I mean, I've known Nico for a long, long time, so I just know who he is as a character, and with our different upbringings and that, I know there's things I know from all the years that we've been together, things he's said and done, and that I won't, obviously I'll keep private, but that lead me to believe, to lead me to have that thought.
Do you get a say in who your next teammate will be?
I don't. Contractually, what they have to do is basically, once they've dwindled it down to 5 drivers, whatever it is, the shortlist, they contractually they have to discuss with me. Yeah. But I mean, I don't have a say who it is.
Does it matter to you?
Well, I mean, I recently was commented and it came on. It was online saying that Lewis doesn't care who his teammate is, which is a little bit out of context. It's important that who we have in the second car. It's important for the team's morale. Mm-hmm. You've seen in other teams and times where it can be a poisonous effect on a team, the arch rivalry between drivers. And so for sure that's really important because I'm really happy here. I love being where I am, and whilst there's been some interesting scenarios, we generally always pull through. So we've got to make sure that whatever we bring is at least as good as what we had, if not better, in terms of creating that energy. So I've had experiences with certain individuals in the past which I would I mean, I would strongly advise not in a team to have that scenario. But what I meant is that I drive against any single driver you want to. Ultimately, when they decide, which is their decision, they can put any driver. Bring Sebastian, bring Fernando, bring whoever you really want. I drove against Fernando my first year and beat him, so that's not a worry for me. I'm happy to drive against any of them, but in terms of what's best for the team, probably not the best ideas.
So what does 2017 hold? We know there's a whole new raft of changes coming in, and you're someone who often says you never know when your next win is coming, that nothing is guaranteed. So is it a winter of excitement, of anxiety until you get back in the car at testing?
Honestly, as soon as I leave tonight, I'm going to spend time with my family the next couple of days, but I'm not going to think of racing for the rest of the year, and for as long as possible, really. And then I've obviously got to come back and apply all the energy that I have towards it. But there's no point dwelling on anything or thinking about too much. So, and again, I have 100% confidence in all of these incredible engineers and people who are designing and building this car. We don't know what the others are doing, but I'm really confident. Been in the wind tunnel, I'm confident that these guys are doing the greatest job that they could possibly do. And whatever the case, when we arrive at the first test or the first race, wherever we stand, which will not be a bad place either way, I know that we, again, have the best team to be able to react to whatever that is. And whether it's an up or down, we'll dig deep together. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to go into the winter with. So that's why it's an easy thing for me.
Lewis, it's always a pleasure. Go relax, have a break, enjoy your winter.
And you, have a great Christmas.
You.